Hi, everybody.
And tonight, we're back in the MCU for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. It's the third feature-length Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, we've talked about many Marvel movies on here before. Nicole and I did a whole Marvel mini-series of the first...
That was so good.
20... I think the first 20-whatever Marvel movies. If you want to see... Nicole had never seen most of them before we started doing the show, so like halfway into the show's runtime, we were like, hey... Or she suggested, which she never suggests, hey, I would like to see all the Marvel movies. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see each one. We'll talk about it for 5 to 10 minutes on here. And so you can go back and listen to all those from Iron Man through Endgame. We talked, we might have even done the next one was Spider-Man Far From Home, whatever.
I think so.
We talked about this
do that, or you can watch this movie, and I have a suggestion. I know what I suggest. So
we've talked about MCU plenty. Well, okay, is the resident fan. She's is the most vocal of anyone on the show and liking these films. And we've, or at least me personally, it's been too much content. It's been an overload. We didn't do Black Panther, not because we didn't want to, but because of scheduling. And then I personally never caught up with it because we didn't do it for the show. It was the first MCU movie I didn't see in general coming out time since I started giving a shit, I guess, whenever that was, 2017 or whatever.
Did you see it yet?
Didn't see it still to this recording.
Oh,
and
man.
I've missed many shows. I tapped out halfway into Moon Knight, which I was looking forward to because there's a directing team that did a couple episodes, Benson and Moorhead. I've talked about them before. And they make a bunch of really good indie sci-fi movies. And they were directing some episodes. I'm like, oh, maybe it'll have some flair, but I didn't do that. I didn't finish that. Missed Marvel, She-Hulk. I'm kind of tapped out, and I was kind of done, honestly. I was like, it was a really good run. There's been some diminishing returns. Maybe it's time to tap out. And then, I asked everyone, what are we going to do this month? What are the suggestions? And one of Mama K's was this film. So,
Ant-Man.
What made you want to come back to MCU for a revisit?
Because it's Ant-Man. I mean, I feel like, okay, I'm going to see this. I've seen the other two. There's a performance I always look forward to in an Ant-Man. And I was hoping it would get me back on track because I have also, with the exception of Black Panther, sort of
so that
lost
one's worth catching up with for you.
Yeah, I lost my juju with it. So I was thinking my thought process is the other things that have come out have been a lot less familiar to me. I mean, I watched the Loki show and the first bit of things that were on Disney Plus. The first ones
were WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki. Those are the first 3. Loki's still my favorite, and that's why I wanted to see this because it had Kang, and I was like, oh, Kang, he's from Loki. I want to see Kang because I think that guy's interesting. So that's really the only draw for me in this one. Ant-Man, I like Ant-Man. He's fine. I like Evangeline Lilly as an actress, so she's fine as Wasp. But and Catherine Newton, I lot of other
That's
stuff,
why, though.
But...
I thought I needed some help getting pulled back in. So I was hoping that this would sort of solidify. Black Panther did that for me, and it was good for me. But I was hoping this was going to help, sort of solidify that, get me back into the groove.
Ant-Man and the Wasp find themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures and embarking on an adventure that pushes them beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. This film is presently at a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes with 83 audience score, 6.5 IMDb, and 48 Metacritic, so much more mixed middling than MCU typically is. They've been living in the high 80s for so long now, and now 48. Eternals was the only other one, I think, that has been reviewed this unfavorably. I liked Eternals for what it's worth. It's a very different movie, but this is a bit of a slippery boy here. So, if you haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasps, that's the reviews it's getting. It's in theaters now, I'm sure, still, even though it's not as popular. It's still MCU, to get butts in the seats. And we're going to spoil it here now, and when it comes to shows and other movies, I'm just going to assume everything's on the table up to this point. I don't know what everyone's seen, but spoilers for all of MCU. You have to know what you're getting into at this point. So there you go. Spoilers coming now. We revisit the Ant-Man family, which I didn't realize is actually kind of low-key stocked with talent, other than Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly. You got Catherine Newton coming in as the third Cassie Lang. We'll see if it's the final Cassie Lang.
Interesting.
You got Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas, stalwart actors who've been in everything for all time. And then William Jackson Harper's in here. Katie O'Brien's in here. A couple of smaller character actors who I enjoy. David Dastmalchian. We get our big star-studded Bill Murray cameo. I call it a cameo because calling it anything more is a sham. And maybe a returning villain? Question mark? I didn't see that coming. This is what happens in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Michelle Pfeiffer has unfinished business in the quantum realm, and they get called back to the quantum realm, and they're in the quantum realm, and they got to figure out how to get out or how to stop a thing. What did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Okay.
I have the hardest time with things when they don't have at least a foot in some sort of reality. This was all over the place. I don't even know how these actors acted in this movie. I can imagine it was only 98% green screen CGI stuff the whole time. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what land they're in. And they try to explain it, but it's obvious that they don't even really understand what it is, and they kind of laugh it off like, we're in your country or land or whatever this is, underneath my land, and the Scott Lang character is the one who says those kind of things. So they're trying to have exposition to tell you that you should believe in this place. And it's fine.
To give it credit, it's a strong screenwriting choice. You have a fish out of water character in a strange world, and he's our audience surrogate. And we know Paul Rudd's Ant-Man at this point, so we're like, okay, we're following along. Like, he's been to the quantum realm before, but this is all still strange, so he can be our guide. And he's got the daughter. The daughter hasn't been there. That helps us from a storytelling perspective understand what's going on.
If I could figure out what's going on. Like, if I could figure out what... is this one quantum land? Are they going from quantum land to quantum land? Are there countries? Who owns this?
Well, I get the impression the quantum realm is like a whole planet system kind of thing that is within, super small things. Like if you blew us up out past our solar system to other solar systems and all that crap and whatever we make up of, we're the quantum realm of that. You see.
Yeah, I get that because everything is so there's just the consistency. It's almost like they just were throwing things at stuff and we're like, this looks cool. Let's do this. We need some different kind of people. Oh, let's make them look like this.
You can do whatever you want in quantum realm because you got different.
You can do whatever you want, and
anything can show up down here. Yeah,
and that's it's not fine because I don't love that, but it's a tactic. But they don't follow through with it. And there are things that bother me. They're like, oh, I didn't think I'd see another human. Well, Kang is human-ish to the point, there are other human looking people there. And why are you surprised to see?
Right. But they don't come from our Earth. They come from other places. They've all ended up there and all kinds of different.
But they say it like,
if you like Loki, if you understand the logic of the Loki show, it's not unlike that.
Therein lies the problem.
Oh, you don't like Loki? That's my favorite show.
It's not that I don't like it, and I didn't love it, but I think if I watch it again, I would like it more. But this whole, no. I mean, there are still times that as I'm going to sleep, will go, okay, but if Steve Rogers left to go back, and he comes back to the same place, and he's an old man.
Nicole,
what happened? I know, we talk about this all the time.
What is wrong with you guys? Why can't you just understand what's happening? I don't understand. Pretend it's just... And pretend it's between... You're going from North America to Asia and not... this quantum palace to that quantum. Just pretend, just relate it to something you know.
But there are no rules in it. I understand the rules for going from North America to Asia.
There are rules in the quantum realm. It's a little different, but they're still, they still play by a general rule set. They can't do anything down there.
I feel like they can. I mean, all of a sudden the buildings are alive and start moving.
The buildings are alive down there. Your buildings are dead?
Yeah.
See, there's still some good old fashioned MCU break the ice. Doesn't understand
a little bit.
It's still there.
Underwhelmed. I stayed awake the whole movie, which I didn't think I was going to do because it felt like a lot of space and a lot of action doing not a whole lot. So I'm proud of myself for that. I think that Evangeline Lilly is horrendously underused in this film, and we rely
Oh,
too
she has
much on
the least to do. I mean,
the absolute
she's
least.
given nothing. She's
No,
only
Michael
in the
Douglas does more than she does. Like,
Michael Douglas has the through line of his hands are squishy when he puts him in the controls, and then later on
yeah,
he's more confident. He's like, "I got this, guys. I'll drive," and then he sticks his hand in. I'm like, "Oh, good for
I
you,
know.
Michael Douglas, giving half a
Yeah, but
shit
that's
about
not
this
funny
thing."
to me. That's like I
Yes,
was like, oh, that's
well,
not
it's
even
MCU
funny.
funny. It's like, oh, he was grossed
But
out by the thing, and now he's best friends with the thing. You know.
there are times when MCU funny's fine, but it just didn't. It did not. This did not land for me. And I like Scott. I like him to be a little more. I like him to be funnier, and I like him to be a little more rogue. Like a he was. It's hard when he's now the superhero and he goes by being an Avenger. I don't know. I liked it a little better when he was messier.
Well, he's the blandest he's ever been at this point because, and the movie doesn't really know what to do. This is a trailer for the next big thing. I mean, it's not really a movie. Is the kind of the big problem. It's if the
Yeah,
MCU
that is a
were an
big problem.
if the MCU were an ongoing TV show, this would be a filler episode where the only thing that really matters here is that Kang is being reintroduced. We met Kang variants in Loki, and now we're meeting this Kang, and then we get a mid-credits scene with more
Yeah,
Kang.
but if you don't remember or didn't meet him in Loki, they don't really introduce him here at all. All of a sudden, he's just Michelle Pfeiffer's
Well,
buddy.
yeah, if you
Uh,
didn't know he was in Loki,
yeah,
you
it's
would be
really
like,
bad.
why
They
is
don't.
he so much more important than any other MCU villain?
Yeah, this is the worst introduction of a major character in a long time, I think.
I think it's really only because they're doing it differently now, though, because when MCU or OG 23 came out, that's no TV shows. That's pure theatrical release every other year kind of thing. Long build
Yeah.
up. Everything's an important event. Yeah, now it's not like it's TV now. There's how many MCU TV shows are there currently? 7, 8, 10? I have no idea. There's so many, and then they pump out 2 to 3 to 4 a year of. I mean, we're not the only ones saying this. They've been declining
I
in
know.
general quality. They're not. They're still not the Michael Bay, Roland Emmerich old blockbusters of the 90s. They still have in my opinion, higher general care of
Quality.
storytelling than that. Yes, they give more of a shit than that, but it's become factory time. It's become Star Wars and Star Trek and Harry Potter and every other franchise.
And I know the MCU. I am not like a crazy Stan fanatic or whatever, but I don't. Those aren't the only people that see these movies. These movies can't make the money they make by just pandering completely to the fans. So you have to introduce a character that's this big and introduce him well, and that's not what we got. Not what we got in this. It was hard to know, especially with the fact that Michelle Pfeiffer's been out of the quantum realm for a while and hasn't told anybody about this. I mean, what? I don't believe that.
I'm just thinking, how is the Marvels is coming out soon with Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Lashana Lynch's character or whatever her name is. She's like a Rambo, Monica Rambeau,
Yeah,
whatever.
Monica
And I'm
Rambeau.
just thinking,
Yeah.
like, that cast is way more hard to work with in terms of like getting funny stuff, serious stuff, getting likability, getting like fist pumping moments. This is as good as it is because you have Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Catherine Newton, Bill Murray, Michelle Pfeiffer. This cast carries this super mediocre material. Like if like these are
It's really,
these
really,
are,
really mediocre material, which is
it's
not
so
what
mediocre.
they
Like
need to
Catherine
be.
Newton, I saw her recently in a movie called Freaky. It's a Christopher Landon movie. It's like one of those teen slasher movies. She body swaps with Vince Vaughn, who's a murderer. So she has to be the murderer, and Vince Vaughn has to play a high school girl or whatever it is. Like, she's so fucking funny in that movie. She's so good at switching from meek high school girl to horrible bloodthirsty serial killer. And I've seen her in other things. So when I saw, finally they picked a Cassie Lang actress and they picked Catherine Newton, I'm like, yes, good. I don't know if she's going to get other jobs. Like, she might burn out after high school, but this will guarantee that she's in movies for another 10 years, and I want that. But she doesn't get to do very much in here. She doesn't get to be... Like, I've been dogging on the TV shows. I kind of liked Hawkeye. I like that one, what's her name, girl? The Hawkeye protege?
Oh, yeah.
she's like a Disney Channel actress. I don't remember her name, but she was like that. She was legit like good and like an interesting character. And I didn't get that from Catherine Newton's new character. Bill Murray's a throwaway. If Jonathan Majors, if he's going to be the next big bad, I preferred his shtick in Loki, where he was the different version of himself.
Well, you're going to be able to see him again in Creed pretty soon. So
I have never seen Creed or Creed 2. Should I catch up? Are those worth catching up on?
Creed 3 is coming out, so it depends on whether you want to.
I know. I haven't seen Rocky 5. Is that the one where he has
you
a
can
son?
stop seeing Rocky after 3. You don't need to see any more after that.
I'm a completionist, though. I don't like to. I'm not going to go see Creed 3. If I haven't seen
though,
Creed 1 or 2 and Rocky 5, I'm not going to see Creed 3. That's not how it works.
Well, what if
Michael
that's
B.
on
Jordan
my
gets
list
to
of
direct.
March, I mean.
Michael B. Jordan gets to direct. I'm excited. No more Ryan Coogler. Black Panther.
Oh.
Rare.
He's busy doing other things.
Well, yeah, he got the Marvel keys to the palace, so he can make whatever he wants now.
Wait, who directed this movie?
This is returning director Peyton Reed, who directed the first 2 Ant-Man movies, as well as oh no, never mind. I was thinking of a different director who made a different movie I was going to talk about, and I won't now because it's not the right guy. Peyton Reed.
Yeah, I don't know that Ant-Man's the way to go. Like, I don't know this.
It sucks. Ant-Man's not the answer.
iffy.
Like, he's not a leader.
No.
He's not. And the same thing with Thor. Like, Thor is one of the OGs, but he's like Captain America's a leader. Iron Man's a leader. Thor's not a leader.
Yeah.
Like, same problem here. Like, and we got like I dog on Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't give a shit about that show. Falcon can be a leader. Like, who else is a leader in the modern MCU? It's kind of a problem, isn't it? I was going to say Captain Marvel. I'm like, yeah, but she's a huge bitch who is an asshole to everybody all the time.
Hawkeye's a leader.
Hawkeye's a leader, but Hawkeye's Hawkeye. Yeah. His power is not cool. Like his power is not as important as everyone else's. He's not like Thor's a god,
right? No, but also Ant-Man. I mean, they keep using
Ant-Man's
the same...
power is actually incredible. Ant-Man's power is actually one of the best powers.
That's the thing that in this movie is the only thing that that is interesting to me is when they're having the big battle at the end and there's the ants and they're doing Cassie gets the suit and they're doing the big to small and all of that kind of stuff. That was a jam. I dig that.
I jam when Michael Douglas goes on a jag about ants. I love how much he loves ants. I love when characters have specific things that they actually like give too much of a shit about, and it matters to the thing. Like that's good. That's good. Like it makes me believe this human. Like he's just this weirdo scientist dude. Now he's 80. He could have done ants. Yeah. I'm just saying. Like
he's good. I don't think Michelle Pfeiffer's very good in this.
I disagree. I think she's fine.
I don't know.
Well, let's think about Michelle Pfeiffer's role in this. She has to be dramatic anchor piece. And she has to tie back into Jonathan Majors scenes, who we've said the character. You said you didn't like the character just introduction. Jonathan Majors is an excellent choice as your future big bad. He's got the
I don't disagree with that. I don't know.
I have never seen him turn in anything but excellent performances, all the way back to Last Black Man in San Francisco. That dude, he's got it. Like, there's a reason they went to him. I think that there's a story that came out recently that he was tapped for the MCU like years ago. Straight out of Yale, and like he was like thinking about not taking it to do this to be
role?
Kang. He got Last Black Man in San Francisco in like 2017 or something like that when he was like 22 or 23 or whatever, and he's been in several things since he's blown up. But like they tapped him early, like not Chris Evans, who's another good example. They tapped him early before he got super famous. Like this guy's gonna be it. And he almost turned them down. He almost walked out because they were fucking around with his time. But even as a young guy, he knows.
I don't disagree that he's going to be a good villain, that he's a good villain in this movie. I just don't. I'm not. I feel like they're being you have to be too much of a fan to really know or not care. I guess if you don't care. See, I run in the middle. I'm not the average moviegoer and I'm not the super fan. So I'm in the middle where I might need a little nudge because I do want to be more invested than just realizing that this is the big bad now. I mean, this is now Thanos. Like, this is what's happening. This is what they're bringing.
Yeah, he's going to be Thanos level villain, which
Yeah.
there hasn't been since Thanos. And
Since
Kang
Thanos, yeah.
as a character is a good choice because he's interesting, because there's so many versions of
Yes.
him. So like we saw the version of Loki, totally different guy than this, and Jonathan Majors, the actor, can do all of them. Like, he can do them all convincingly, which is what you need. You need someone more dynamic than, I love Josh Brolin, but he's got a couple of types he can play. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did,
Yeah.
a one-trick pony who's good at that trick.
Maybe two notes. Yeah.
He's got two or three. And he's got more notes than I'm giving him credit for. But
Dynamic. Yeah.
But by the time we get to the mid-credit scene, I'm like, I took such a 180 at the mid-credit scene. I was gonna like kind of recommend this and be like, yeah, it's whatever. It's not a miserable 2 hours. I barely remember it, and I'm sitting here 4 or 5 days after seeing it. I saw several other much better movies in between, and so this is like, I walked out of the theater. I'm like, yeah, it's like a 3-star Marvel movie. It's like lower middle of the road, but like 48%. Like it's not terrible. It's not a waste of time. That mid-credits scene left a bad taste in my mouth, though. I didn't like how they played all.
Which one was the mid-credit scene? Because I stayed for both, so I don't remember.
I didn't stay for the last one, which apparently was the Loki one. But the mid-credit scene is like the Council of Kangs in like an auditorium, and it's all the Kangs shouting at each other, and I'm like, this is too much Kang. I'm like, I am into this villain. I'm into this actor and this performance. This is too much.
But you know what Marvel's like, though?
They're mounting the jet ski. They are getting ready to jump right over.
But they might not even ever do that, because Marvel, mid credits you and then doesn't give you what you want. So
no, they end
or
credits
what you
you
don't
and
want.
don't give you. Their end credits are. That's why I didn't say for the end credits. The end credits is always ancillary. The mid credits. When was the last mid credits that didn't mean something? Mid credits always. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I don't really think of mid credits very much, but
end credits is like if I think of Thor. If I think of Thor Ragnarok, I think that's the best contrast I can think of. The mid credit scene is they're in the ship, and then Thanos' ship arrives and sucks them up. And that takes us right into Infinity War. And then the post-credit scene, the very last thing you see, is Grandmaster, who's Jeff Goldblum, stumbles out of his ship. He's like, all his followers are around him. He's like, hey, caught a draw, guys, And like that's to me, that's the quintessential. Mid-credits sets up your next thing. Post-credit is we're having.
Well, I hope it doesn't.
Mid-credits is Thanos smirking to the camera. And
never mind, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, and post-credits is shawarma. Right. Yeah.
No wonder I always like the post-credit the most.
Yeah, because it doesn't mean anything. It's just a like little.
It's a lagniappe. It's a little yummy treat. Yeah. Well, I don't want Uber Kang. I don't want it to look like he's at whatever that council was in one of the Star Wars movies.
As an MCU fan, what would you want? Or you're Kevin Feige.
What am I looking forward to?
What would you do with Marvel at this point? Because, I mean, their current strategy is pump it out. Pump out 4 or 5 TV shows, 2 or 3 movies a year. They're still trying to tie it all together, and they're doing it. Yeah. They're doing okay. It's not like they're doing a bad job of tying it together. It's just not as interesting as it used to be. But what would you?
I think it's too much. This is what happens to me when I get oversaturated with something. I don't care anymore. Like I am the person that wants to wait for something good. I don't need to have a bunch of stuff thrown at me to keep me interested, because that doesn't really keep me interested.
It dilutes the brand.
Not only that, it's just like when you're putting out stuff like that, you can't, it's impossible to maintain quality. So, one, like WandaVision, one season, fine. And then the next season, pull out Winter Soldier and then do it. It's too much content. It's almost like, it's like everything we have. It's all too much content. And I'd rather sit and wait for it's everything everywhere all at once. And I'd rather wait for something good. And I like familiarity to a point. I would like to have, I like the part of where I know Ant-Man and I know his crew, and now we're bringing in Kang. So that's good for me. If they would have just brought him in a little easier for me to understand what's going on. For me, that's the perfect segue. I'm going from people that I know and people that I like, and now you're bringing on somebody else, and he's an interesting character, and I can follow him through. Even if he left all those other people behind and went on with other Marvel characters or whatever, I'd be okay with that. In a couple years, like in 2 years, that's what I'm used to, with the exception of
what are we building towards? Like, Kang is the big bad. All right, we obviously have Ant-Man set up as someone in there. Loki is going to be something, some sort of redeemable
What's going to
figure.
happen? What's going to happen in the new Captain America movies? Who's going to be?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what? I've said this as in my opinion, a problem. The problem with Captain America and his crew is that they suck. They're nothing. They deal with mundane, run-of-the-mill issues on Earth.
Those are all things that I relate to.
Yeah, but the MCU isn't that anymore. Like when we go to Falcon and Winter Soldier and they're dealing with, there's like a homelessness crisis and there's a terrorist bombing in a Middle Eastern city and it's this group of insurgents.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is spy thrillery and that's not what MCU is anymore. MCU, we know multiverses exist now. We know quantum realms exist now. We have no time for this flag smasher nonsense. It needs to only be... We actually
do have plenty of time.
We don't have time.
If you're paying attention, there's plenty of time.
But it's inconsequential. It doesn't matter. Like
it feels inconsequential to you, but for me, I like my entertainment home based, and when things get into realms that just I can't wrap my brain around, I don't have the energy to do that, then I don't care. And
how do you marry
that whole movie? This whole movie to me just seemed like I was on like some weird acid trip. And there were some people along the way that I remember from a party I went to at one point. And then there's a bad guy. Every fight scene was the same. And the thing is I'm contrasting this with another movie that we just reviewed recently. And it's not unlike that. I mean, there are things in that movie that repeat and repeat and repeat. And the movie maker in that
RRRs.
film... RRR did a great job doing that.
And it repeats and repeats and repeats.
It repeats and repeats and repeats. Yeah, at RRR and ours. But it's done in such a great way, and it's understandable for me because it's things that I can relate to. I need to have a base of relativity. If you put everything into a place that doesn't make sense to me or that I'm not familiar with, I don't have anywhere to be. Like, you tell me that I'm the audience is Ant-Man, but I'm not Ant-Man. Like, that's not even. He's already a little too like.
You can't imagine though. Like, what if I, Mama K, all of a sudden ended up in a space place? What would I do? How would I try to understand
I would be
my
like,
environment?
Fuck, this is where I'm ending up. This isn't what I asked for. I asked for a rainforest. Like, this was not my jam. I want a place that has plants, for God's sakes.
Well, I know you want it. It's like, you get thrown in, you're Guardians of the Galaxy and you get thrown in a hostile planet, or I think the MCU moving. I like Loki was my favorite show as of the MCU shows I've seen in post Endgame stuff, and like this is the same ilk but a step in the wrong direction. But I want some more. Like, I just don't know if the spy thrilleriness of the
all so much better than this then? Like, everything Endgame and prior, OG6 was all so much better than
works.
This. And it's like national, or not nationally. It's everybody loves it. It's all, why does that continue to be?
Endgame works because it's never been done before. Endgame works because...
Not just Endgame. I'm talking about everything from Endgame back to to Iron Man, back to 2006 or whatever.
Oh, that all works because it builds to Endgame.
Except
and then Endgame is
Dark
catharsis.
World.
Well, no, but like...
That's not... But you don't know that it's building to that, so you're still watching each movie on an individual level, and it's still, varying degrees, but you're not getting a 40% or you're not getting a 50% off of any of those films. Except for Thor, Dark World.
We're being too harsh is the thing. Our we're the drug addict who has gotten a little bit of heroin and now needs more heroin to be high. I don't know how to describe it other than that. And
but they're not giving us heroin. They're giving us I don't know what they're giving us.
No, they gave us a bunch of heroin, and now they're giving us cut rate heroin, and it's better than Armageddon and Con Air and Bad Boys, but it's not as good as the heroin they used to give us, like Avengers and
so go
Civil
back
War.
and do that. Why are we doing all of this?
Because it's hard to make heroin. Like, it's hard to make good heroin, so they got to make shitty heroin.
But
and
they
that's what
did
this
it.
is.
They made it for so many years. There's
they
a
made
formula,
it because
even though you don't want to admit it.
Because it kept building to the big payoff, which was Endgame. People liked Black Panther and Infinity War and even Captain Marvel with the problems because they knew it was building to the ultimate payoff, which was Endgame, which was a very successful payoff, a 9 out of 10 super solid hit ratio of a payoff movie. That's hard to do. And then after you pay off,
crashed and burned since then. Like,
what else could it have done? What else could the MCU
I don't know.
have
You
done?
keep saying this is the future of the MCU. So the future of the MCU is trash. I mean,
it's not trash though.
This is not it for me though.
Trash. This is just mediocrity now. The bar of mediocrity has been raised.
That's like me, like, it's, okay, this is exactly what it's like. This is like me going to my favorite donut store, and they always have a new donut every time, and it's delicious, and I want to eat it, and then all of a sudden they have this really great donut. It's probably like the bacon maple donut at Holy Donut here in Maine, and then the next donut that comes out is a Dunkin' Donut. And then all the rest of the donuts are varying degrees of Dunkin' Donuts.
It's not quite like that. It's more.
It's very much like that.
I don't know how to describe it correctly, but it's more like you were building up to this ultimate thing. The thing paid off, and it was successful. Like I think in a vacuum, if you look at Thor Ragnarok and this movie, Ragnarok is only better because of its context, as far as like where it sits in the timeline, what it's doing. Like,
I don't disagree with that.
It's not that much crazy. Like, it has a lot of similarities.
But I would still watch Thor Ragnarok over anything that's been released since Endgame.
Because Thor Ragnarok matters.
For Black Panther.
Because Thor Ragnarok matters in a thing you care about.
Black Panther, that's the difference. But Black Panther, the latest Black Panther movie was good too. And that shows me that you can do that, and you can use the characters that people like, and that
Black Panther's grounded though
Black
too,
Panther,
though. Isn't that back to your draw? Like, I know there's underwater people in that movie, but in general, it takes place on Earth, and it does take place on Earth.
And I fully admit that I like Earth-based movies. So I'm not trying to be, coy here and say, well, that's not it. But part of it is it. Part of the reason Captain Marvel was a little weird for me is because the Earth-based stuff was great for me. The rest of the stuff was too. I was so confused during that movie about.
It's just where it has to go. Then you can't make Captain America, Falcon, Winter Soldier. That isn't it just isn't as important anymore because the world that we now live in, a post Thanos snap world where multiverses exist and quantum realms exist and time travel exists. Now that but these Pandora's boxes have been opened to an audience, to enough of the universe's important people that now when we cut back to a Winter Soldier spy thriller, it feels quaint and it's not the same anymore. And so
but the audience isn't buying it. You can tell by the reviews of all the latest Marvel stuff. The audience isn't buying it. So
but I guess my argument is they had there was no way for them to continue to make content without a break and not have it be shit.
Okay, let's be over the break. Then Ross and Rachel were on a break, so we can be on a break now.
It's not about
and then
the break.
We're done.
You can't go. Well, what? All right. So what's the COVID helped Marvel, one, because it made them take longer to release their shit. If they could have released their shit quicker after Endgame, they would have drowned quicker because their problem is drowning in their content. Having the artificial break of COVID and having to release things later helped them. So that's one reason of the delay of their downfall. But they had to take a step back, and they had to take, after Endgame came out and they made their $3 billion, they had to be like, there's just no way to keep this cast range growing. The best thing they did since then was No Way Home from a money-making perspective, because that had nostalgia and a new plug in that it brought in MCU characters from before the MCU existed. It brought in Tobey and Andrew Garfield. So, like, that's the kind of gimmicky kind of stuff they need to keep the engine going. X-Men in the Doctor Strange universe, like,
well, then that's what they need to do, because this isn't it for me. There's been a lot of talk about, remaking Fantastic Four again, which they already remade once, and
they're going to do it. I mean, that's well, I know.
So what they need to do is start getting the people on the board that made the MCU. Get it written by Marcus and McFeely. Start having Jon
Favreau's
involved.
Not coming back. No.
I'm just telling you. Okay, they can get the Russo brothers back involved. Whatever it takes.
Russo brothers are no. That is not George. That's like saying George Lucas can fix Star Wars after he made the first 3 Star Wars, and then here come the prequels. That was full George Lucas.
He probably could come back and fix Star Wars, but
I actually thought multiple times while watching this. This reminds me of the prequels because of how green screen everything is.
It was just so messy. Everything about it was messy. I didn't really care. All I cared about when was the movie going to end? That's all I cared about in this movie. I knew what was going to happen.
Were you miserable watching this though? I wasn't miserable watching this, and I
was a little miserable. I had restless leg syndrome watching it, so I don't know.
I recognized while watching this, I'm like, I'm not having a bad time. This is perfectly a fine diversion. No. I just know I'm going to forget.
And I didn't sleep. So that's why I started off this review with I didn't fall asleep, which I fully not intended to do, but on the way to the theater, I thought I'm going to get an hour and a half nap out of this 2-hour movie. So
I just think that
I didn't do that.
If the new bar for movies is to be entertained while you're in the seat and not miserable, like that just wasn't the bar. It wasn't
entertaining. Yeah, it wasn't. I won't watch this movie again.
No, probably not. It's possible.
And I watch MCU movies. I don't watch them now all the time, but there was a time when I could watch an MCU movie at any point, and now it's like, if it's on, I'll pass it by, even if it's something I like. I don't know, man. It's been rough. Guardians of the Galaxy's coming out. What do you think? I don't know.
Well, I have to see. That looks like a Guardians movie, and I've grown to like Guardians.
The second one wasn't great though, and so I'm a little worried, and so I'm hoping that this one's better.
Guardians too. I like the Guardians as a group. I've grown to like them quite a bit. I really love Mantis and Drax, and I know Batista's done being Drax, so I'm gonna Batista and Pom Clementif as actors, and they're doing it's just a very. I followed both their careers doing stuff, and it's very interesting how they became Mantis and Drax, and I love Mantis and Drax. They're my favorite. Yeah, I was gonna say
they play off each other really well.
They're perfect together, and it shouldn't work at all. But that's part of James Gunn. James Gunn's the director of those movies. He's the vision behind those. And Suicide Squad, same kind of guy. He knows how to do that guy. We didn't talk about MODOK.
Who's MODOK?
MODOK. Corey Stoll.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was just like, I totally did all this talking. I'm like,
I know you say.
I'm like,
no. And while I was watching it, I was like, I am going to go ham on this dude's ass when we do the review, and I totally mentally blocked it out in favor of all the CGI stuff.
You weren't
that I didn't
a
really
MODOK
understand
fan?
what was going on. Okay, what?
MODOK is a character from the MCU. He's had many iterations. He actually has a Hulu show, I believe. I think he's voiced by Patton Oswalt. I gotta check that now. Make sure it's not
voiced by who.
There's a let me make sure I have my credentials right.
Who's the voice though?
Patton Oswalt.
Oh, okay. I can see that actually.
Yeah, what do we got?
That would have been a better person in that giant peanut M&M suit.
Well, it's Corey Stoll.
Do you remember when the M&Ms wore like
sexy high heels? Oh yeah.
No.
The best days of my life.
They were in like that was right at your
before the
spot,
liberals
probably.
took away my sexy high heeled M&Ms. I was just That
No,
was the
there was
real
at one
downfall of
point
the MCU.
when they were, oh, you know what it is? We have Star Wars M&Ms. That's what it is. We have Christmas ornaments, Star Wars M&Ms, where they're all dressed up like each character. And there's a peanut M&M that is dressed up like C-3PO that looks just like that MODOK character, only proportionate. That's what I was trying to think of the whole time I was watching the movie. What do I think of him? I think it's ridiculous. I think having him in that movie is ridiculous.
He's an honorary Avenger now, don't you know?
No, he's not.
Because he sacrificed himself to stop Kang, the new Thanos.
That's not enough.
We're going to have a MODOK headstone right next to Tony Stark's.
Really not enough. No, see, it's those things always make me feel like they're laughing at the audience by putting that kind of shit in. Like this is too, when there's too far, and this is too far. Sorry. Nope.
There's a TV show that came out in 2021 on Hulu called MODOK. And yeah, I guess they followed him, that character. I'm not familiar with this character. When Corey Stoll showed up in this movie, who was, what was he, Yellow Jacket in the first one, I was like, oh, I guess Peyton Reed and Corey Stoll are friends, because that's, why else would you bring that character back?
Yeah, they were referring to him as the Bee.
Corey Stoll is in the first season of House of Cards. He's like,
yeah, I know.
Peter Russo. It's such a shame what happened with Kevin Spacey, because I loved the first 3 seasons of House of Cards. So and Corey Stoll, I had never seen him before, and I saw him in first season of House of Cards. I'm like, oh my god, this guy fucking is so good. Nicole thinks she calls them cheese people. She thinks they smell like cheese. I'll let her defend her position on this one time. But Corey Stoll is her flagship. That guy smells like stanky cheese. Yeah, she calls them cheese people. She always
Did she watch this?
No, she didn't watch this movie. I saw this alone.
Oh, because I would like to know what she would think of him as that giant-headed
Nicole would have no time for this nonsense. She's checked out. She's all done with MCU. It's just me and you until we decide to stop. I saw this on a Wednesday afternoon, so we're recording this like a week after it's come out. So not that long. And I saw it completely empty theater. Completely empty. Like not a single other person there. At like a 5:00 showing on a Wednesday, so not like prime time, but
people are working.
I know, but it's like one, not everyone works a 9 to 5, but 2, like it's it's first release. It's the biggest movie in the country, and it's the first week, and I saw it with nobody.
Yeah, I saw it IMAX, a third full on a Saturday night. I only saw it one day ago. I saw it less than 24 hours ago, actually, and the fact that I could not remember the MODOK character. And as I was looking at things for this, I've even read MODOK, and I just went like I just glazed right over it. Like that's obviously wasn't that important because I don't remember what it was, and now I'm like, oh yeah, it's so bad.
Any other points for Bill Murray? I mean, you're a big Bill Murray fan, but you like that this is his MCU impact?
No, I mean. Bill Murray can't be in a real movie anymore, like a whole movie?
No, Bill Murray hasn't given a fuck in so long.
I know.
He doesn't know how to anymore.
It was really, I didn't know he was going to be in this, so it was a surprise to see him. But,
You still like Bill Murray? You've always liked Bill Murray.
I love Bill Murray. Yeah.
I know, but he's probably like the worst, right? Like we always talk about like how people are off screen. Like he's got to be terrible. I've only heard negative things.
I think he's gone through, I think he's gone through phases. Like, I think now that he's not working, quote, actively, the things that I've heard have been a lot kinder than when he was, I don't know, kind of in his prime, I guess. Now he's almost like a caricature of himself. So maybe he puts that on.
Isn't that kind of sad,
all I've
though?
heard in the recent, what's that?
That's kind of sad, though. It's like when I see like Robert De Niro during Dirty Grandpa, I'm like, that motherfucker's raging bull. That guy's he's the taxi driver, man. Like, why he's fucking Godfather. Like, why is he?
Yeah, but he's not
bad. Why is he bad, Grandpa?
You can't do that forever, and then you just decide to make this, shit movie. So I don't know. Why does he do it? That's my question. Why don't you just like go, gently into that good night and not do any of that?
I guess I'll never understand. Yeah, like when you get to those A-listers, I'm like, why would you not? Daniel Day-Lewis
Yeah,
it and like be like,
there's a
I will
part
do
of
one
acting.
movie every 3 years, and I will only choose the most prestigious, exactly what I want to work on kind of project. And then some people are just like, I'll show up in random shit, whatever.
Or just do a Christian Bale movie every so often and only do it because it's going to piss me off to no end because I can't.
Yeah, but
every
Christian
movie
Bale
that
only
he's
makes
in.
good shit. It's not like Christian Bale shows up
Well,
in random
that's a
bullshit.
theory that everyone else subscribes to, but me. But he just does. He does movies to irritate me now. So, pretty much,
Christian
I
Bale
need to go on his fan club and
not
do some trolling or something.
He's an excellent
Yeah. I'm bummed. Bummed is the word I want to use.
How did this end? They beat Kang and they escaped with the particles, and then Scott was like walking down the street and he was like, wait, did I actually beat him? And he's like, I guess I did. And then that's how like the movie ends. And then we see the Council of Kangs in the post credit.
And he has to pay $12 for his coffee.
Where do you think this is going?
No idea.
What are we doing? We got Adventures Kang Dynasty. We got Secret Wars. We have a Marvels movie. You know, Falcon's still out there.
Let's think of what's been good. Like Shang-Chi was good, right?
I guess, but I forgot that movie existed. So you just said Shang-Chi was good.
I know, right? I did too until I just said it. But I was
it was fine when I watched it, but I forgot about it in 5 seconds. So who cares?
Well, that's going to be the problem for me with all of these things. If these do not contain the characters that are in my Marvel sweet spot, I'm not going to care that much about it, and it's going to take something like a Shang-Chi to make me want to watch. I liked that movie when I watched it too. I don't know that I've seen it since, but at least it was something when I
want Eternals.
Yeah, there's a small patch of you people.
I like I like cosmic. I want to go as big, and that's what I was hoping to get in Quantumania. I want to go so big that it's impenetrable. I want David Lynch MCU. I want to go fucking out of this world.
Oh, God.
And Eternals is the closest thing I'm ever going to get to like that's Chloe Zhao. Like I want like prestige, like deep.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I want cosmic MCU. I want some deep theoretical Lovecraft kind of shit in there.
I feel like that's what we get with whenever like Loki comes around. The whole Loki series.
Yeah, Loki's like good. Even after the post-credit scene where like we get all these Kangs, almost like too much Kang. This is good. There's zero chance it can't be stupid. Like there's no way they're gonna stick this landing. They've bitten off too much. There's no way you're gonna not spit this out. But I'm gonna see whenever Loki comes out. Like that's what I'm most invested in. I want to see. I like the time variant authority. I like the multiverses. I like the cosmic. I like the Eternals and those big gods that come out of planets. There's Galactus. No. Galactus eats planets. Like I want to see when that guy comes in. Like I want to. Earth is done. I'm done with Earth. I'm done with humans. Let's get big. Let's get to no. Life isn't on the line. Existence as a construct is on the line. We got nowhere else to go.
Yeah,
time itself is on the line, not life. Time, concept, gravity. Gravity's on the line. If we lose this battle, gravity won't exist anymore. Like I want that guy.
Okay, this all feels a little self-important and a little self-indulgent of humans. So I'm not interested in this at all. Like, it's all too much.
What do you recommend?
You can make it up all you want, but anything that's really going to happen is theoretically not possible to think of. So, am I going to recommend this? No.
Ant-Man and the Wasp,
no, I'm not recommending this. Go see RRR instead. It's right on. You can watch it at your house.
Okay, I will say if you are in a strange situation when you have a binary choice of Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 and RRR, yes, of course RRR is the superior choice, but.
Yeah,
I'll give this a pass for now.
Wow.
I'm skeptically stroking my beard, but I will give this a pass. I'm waiting. I'm not quite dead yet, but I'm pretty close. I think my bet is that they're going to fumble Kang, that I'll hate Loki season 2, and that I'll be done. And I kind of hope that I'll be done. I kind of hope they'll piss me off enough to be done.
But Captain America, you don't know what's going to happen.
No one
there.
gives a fuck about Captain America.
Well, I'm talking about Falcon as Captain America.
I don't care about Falcon.
Real world problems are too much for you.
It's not
this
interesting.
Is what I find.
If I want real world problems, I'm not going to go to the MCU. I'm going to go to other movies. I have a whole catalog of movies, plenty of good real world problems. If I want, space and powers and shit, like I'll go to the MCU for that. I don't need to watch the Shield and the swinging around. It's corny. Fucking 1990s superhero movies. It's not real.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I have to keep saying no to these movies. By the way, Black Panther would have been a yes. Black Panther would have been a.
I'll catch up with it, but I mean, you and I are the only ones left in the show still doing this. I don't know. I don't know if we need to do these anymore. Maybe for the next big one, but
we'll see.
What's next? Do you even know? Do you know what's next? I don't know what's next. I literally don't know what's next on the schedule for MCU. Is it the Marvels movie?
The Marvels movie is next. Yes,
because I love Lashana Lynch, but goddamn, I can't watch Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. She's just you know what it is? It's like if we're talking about RRR again. When I watch RRR, I'm like, everyone involved in this loves movies. They might have there's passion here. And when I see Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, I see nothing but contempt.
Disdain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking hate being here. I'm
agree.
so much better than this. Like, I feel no joy. I feel the opposite. I feel like she thinks you're stupid for watching her right now. And I'm like...
And she also feels like it's almost a burden to her to be this all powerful superhero.
Yeah, like...
I've got other planets to be on. I got this, that, and the other to do. I'm doing all the things, and,
She pisses...
I don't love that.
It's infuriating. It's such like who would kill to be here? Like, the passion I see in movies that are like small little whatevers, and like I just like the filmmakers wanted to be here. The actors are giving it their all. That's why I like when I see Michael Douglas stick his hands in the gooey thing. I'm like, Michael Douglas, 80 years old. He's already got a full awesome career. He doesn't fucking need this. He doesn't need to be Hank Pym in the Ant-Man movies. But he shows up on the set. He sticks his hands in the little green screen tubes or whatever, and he gives it 80%. And I respect that. I don't want to see Brie Larson be like, I'm too good for this shit. You got a lot of career in front of you. You're a good actress, but like, why are you doing that?
Oh, who knows? Next one might be.
Maybe we'll be back here and I'll be like, The Marvels is the greatest film I've ever seen. It'll be like, it'll be like Star is Born, where I was like, Bradley Cooper, your directorial debut is rebooting Star is Born with Lady Gaga. Oh, there's no way. Oh, I'm crying.
Oh, now I'm gonna sob.
I can't stop crying. Yeah, all right. So 2 recommends for Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel's Adventures. We got other movies coming up. Something, I don't know. The tournament's over at this point. We don't know who wins as of this recording, but
right as of right
Nicole.
now.
So congratulations, Nicole. Probably.
I'd put my money on Nicole too, just because that's the best bet. Safe bet.
I can't believe we were all Final Four. Did you know this is the first year you've had a movie make it to the Final Four?
I'm fully aware of that.
I knew you were always last.
You think I'm not aware of that.
I didn't realize how far. Like, Jess has like 1 or 2 movies. I've had like every year. I have a couple, and Nicole has a couple. But like, I didn't realize you had literally never had anything made it past like the final top 8 or whatever. Because
I always pick some really unusual choices that people.
You had Top Gun this year, though, so
that's right. I had a couple good ones. Usually I don't really. I usually have some mediocre ones.
If you have anything to recommend to us, Films with the Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. And you can email the show, filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Thank you for being on for Ant-Man, Wasp 3, Quantumania 5, Avengers 7.
My pleasure 6.
Until next time, this is Brennan signing off. So thanks for listening and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.